Sifter for the ear.
News, interviews, reviews, cinema, TV, streaming. Action.
Hi, y'all. This is Jerry Williams, a.k.a. TV Jerry. The Bird Theater is finally getting a new HVAC system, and it will be closed until July 13th.
It is the one genre where you have really, really strong female protagonists. And it's also one of the genres where women have more lines than men.
That's today's guest, Vivian Owen, talking about her favorite film genre and one reason why. You'll find out what genre that is in today's interview. Vivian has been a screenwriter, script supervisor, and producer for several years and is currently working on 2 features. We'll get into some of the specifics of these on-set jobs while looking at her new projects.
Sifter Review of the Week.
Beverly Hills Cop Axel F. on Netflix. It's years later, and Axel Foley, Eddie Murphy, is back in Detroit until his daughter, Taylor Page, is threatened by L.A. villains run by dirty cops, that old chestnut. Foley is back to his old disruptive tricks in an attempt to solve the case. As for Murphy, he's still got the sparkle, but has lost some of the edge. The mediocre script didn't help. Several of his old friends have returned, including Judge Reinhold, John Ashton, and Bronson Pinchot, whose garbled accent is the funniest thing in the movie. Then there's Joseph Gordon-Levitt as a new cop and love interest. All of these folks do fine, but the story is so expected and the writing seldom lives up to the comic potential. There are several frantic chases with lots of destruction, but it's all been done before. Ultimately, this is a diluted version of the originals. Not terrible, but nothing new or exciting. I gave Beverly Hills Cop Axel F. 2.5 out of 5 stars. Vivian Owen, welcome to Sifter for the Ear.
Thank you. Hi, nice to be here.
So the first thing I have to ask you, I noticed when I was doing my research, Frenchie Waters and Booger Sugar. What is all of that about?
Yeah, so Frenchie Waters is a production company here locally. It's owned by my friends Chris Austin and Keely Borland. And they invited me to come onto their team for the 48-hour film project.
Right.
I actually joined them in October for the Horror 48. We won Best Film and 8 other awards in that competition, which then allowed us to move on to the Global 48, which is when we made Booger Sugar.
Aha. Has that been finalized yet? That one didn't make it or is still there?
It has been finalized. So it was in the Global 48. It won Best Use of Character in that competition and is now making its way around the festival circuit.
Great. Terrific. Congratulations. So how did you get into movies and film to start with?
So I'm originally from Dayton, Ohio. That's where I lived and grew up. And I went to college in Cincinnati at Xavier University for advertising, actually. So my background is in advertising. I started my career as an advertising agency copywriter and was writing, everything from print ads and billboards, websites, TV commercials, radio commercials, for brands like Swiffer and Steak and Shake and Eureka vacuum cleaners and Ritz-Carlton. I loved production. As soon as I was able to, sell a TV spot and get on set for, making a TV commercial, I just thought that was the best thing ever to hear my words come alive in these actors. And so I kind of got hooked on that drug and figured out a way to make my way into the film industry from there. And I did some teaching down at Ringling College of Art and Design in Sarasota, Florida, then moved to Richmond and I'm now teaching at VCU in their arts school in the cinema program.
So what prompted you to leave Florida and come to VCU?
My husband got a job in Richmond, actually. He works in the investment industry, so it's the complete opposite of the creative work that I do.
But that's good because at least he can support you.
Exactly. Yeah. He takes care of the taxes and the numbers and all of our finances, which is great. And I just get to go have fun making movies. But we moved actually August 2020, right smack dab in the middle of COVID, which was interesting because we couldn't even meet our neighbors, for a long time. And then once kind of we were coming out of the trenches of COVID and colleges were starting to hire again, I applied to VCU and their cinema program and started teaching as an adjunct professor there in 2022, I believe.
Great. Your resume's got all kinds of stuff from obviously writing to being an EP to being a production manager and a script supervisor, which caught my attention because that's something that a lot of people have no idea what a script supervisor does. So why don't you give us a little breakdown basically of what a script supervisor does and how did you get trained for something like that?
Yeah. So I've done a lot of work, writing and producing, but those are really above the line positions. And so they're really hard to get. And it's really hard to get time on set. I really got into script supervising as a way to get more experience on set.
That's smart.
And so last summer, I signed up for a training program. I went through Daniela Sione's Director Whisperer Script Supervisor training program. She's done My Big Fat Greek Wedding and Suits and Shazam and A Simple Favor. So she's got a lot of amazing experience. And she's got this program that you go through and you do, your homework assignments, and then you get certified. I've done a number of short films thus far. And then my own project, I'm planning to script supervise that when that feature goes into production as well.
And so what exactly does a script supervisor do?
A script supervisor is in charge of continuity for the entire production. When you get to set and you're shooting a film, you don't shoot it in order. You don't start with scene 1 and go all the way to scene 150 or whatever it might be.
Right.
Your AD will take that script and break it down and reorganize the schedule so that you're block shooting all of your scenes in one location on one day, and then you move to a different location. You have a script supervisor who makes sure that even though you're kind of going back and forth in this puzzle of a schedule between all of these scenes, that when you get to the editing room, that everything is going to cut together seamlessly because they've tracked all of the continuity of key props and wardrobe and hair and makeup, and even the coverage that you're shooting, making sure that the characters' eye lines will match up. We are the director's second brain because we're looking at all those details and we're catching all of those things that
hopefully
catching
not
all
always.
that will, if those things don't get caught, then it takes people out of the story, right? You realize like, oh gosh, I'm watching Game of Thrones and there's a Starbucks coffee cup.
I was just going to mention that. Yeah.
I am no longer in Westeros, right?
Footnote.
The scene that she's referring to is that a Starbucks coffee cup was mistakenly left in a shot in one scene in Game of Thrones.
Yeah, so we make sure that, there's going to be, you're staying in that world, in that believable world, and that the director can just focus on the performance, right?
Sure. And it can be something as simple as, okay, he had 3 buttons unbuttoned here, so when we shoot the scene the next day, 3 buttons, or the cup was half full in this shot, so we got to make sure it's half full. Those are the kind of things that stand out usually to me, because I obviously look for those continuity things, and those are the kind of things the script supervisors all over.
Yes, exactly. We also serve as the eyes and ears of the editor on set. The editors are typically not on set. They don't know what happened on any given day. We document all of the notes every day into reports that then go to the editor and the post team.
So that's the other thing you do is you keep a log of every take and tell them which take is chosen, which is the alternate and stuff like that too.
Yes, exactly.
But it's fascinating and it's interesting to know that somebody sits there watching all that stuff like I do when I'm sitting in the movies.
Surprise guest drop in.
And I want to talk about the movie that you talked about that you're working on because somebody wanted to drop in and share it with us a little bit. Hold on one second. Let's see who this is.
Footnote.
Max Fisher is a cinematographer and owner of Gearhead Camera here in Richmond. Well, hello, Max. Welcome to Sifter. I haven't seen you in a while.
I know. How you been?
Life is good. I'm retired, so life is better for me than it probably is for you. But
oh, that's great.
Thanks for joining us. So how are you involved with Vivian?
But I decided to make an independent film, and I reached out to a producer that I'm close with, that I work with a lot. Unfortunately, she wasn't available, but she said she had someone great that she could recommend. And Vivian and I hit it off right away, and I definitely hit the jackpot because she saved my tail day in and day out and made the project go as smooth as possible. It was great.
Are y'all wrapped already?
We are in post-production. We are super, super close to picture lock. Actually, we had picture lock on Monday, and then I woke up Tuesday morning with a bit of an epiphany and told the editor, wait,
You might want to tell people who you are, because I know directing is not your first thing, or producing is not your main gig. It's not how you make a living.
That is for sure. Yeah, just to be clear, I did not direct this film. So I am a freelance camera person, have been for close to 30 years. I worked as a camera assistant, a camera operator, then as a DP.
The name of the movie is Saturnalia. What's it about?
This is an Italian giallo film.
Footnote.
Giallo is Italian for yellow, hence the Pulp Fiction reference. It's a genre of horror with sometimes supernatural elements, eroticism, and violence. The seminal example is the 1977 Italian film Suspiria, which some don't consider part of the genre.
They're very visual films, not a whole lot of character development. The music plays a huge part in it. Takes place in the 70s. We did not have it take place in Italy, although it would be nice to be there.
Sure, yeah.
And it's the story about a boarding school for orphaned youth that came from upper class. The school has a lot to hide, I'll say that. Of course, there's an evil headmistress.
Right.
Got to have an evil headmistress. Just like Suspiria, as it starts out kind of normal and then turns into a bit of a supernatural twist. And then we have a big twist at the end.
Most of the filming took place at Dover Hall, which is a big grand estate out in Mannequin Sabbath. They do a lot of weddings and corporate events.
We started right after the new year. We started maybe January 15th, shot for 3 weeks, which was a great timing because nobody was working.
Yes.
I mean, I ended up hiring a lot of my close friends and work associates, paying them whatever I could afford. They ended up being very happy for the work because there was nothing going on. This was all at the heels of the writers and actors strike, and that was part of the reason I actually made the film.
And you say, well, that was part of the reason you made it. Why? Because you had time during the strike to come up with it?
A lot of times I was watching a lot of movies. I love horror movies. I love giallo movies. And I watched Suspiria for probably the 25th time. And when it was over, I was like, man, I would kill to shoot a movie that looks like that because it has really strong visuals.
Right.
And I was like, well, why don't I shoot a movie like that? And I started reaching out to people I work with.
So what's next? Do you have, you planning to do the festival circuit once it's locked and finished?
I'm not a big festival guy, filmmaker kind of guy, but we have chosen a select few to submit it to. Fortunately, Vivian's also developing a horror film, so she has done a ton of research on that already. So she's helped pick a couple that she thinks are valuable. It's kind of the next business step. And then I also have some industry connections, obviously been in the industry for many, many years. So I'm hoping that either way we can get some sort of distribution. And it's obviously a genre film.
Right.
It's not for everyone. But I think the people that do like this type of film are really going to enjoy it.
I love horror. It is the one genre where you have really, really strong female protagonists.
Yeah.
Which is also true of Saturnalia, the film Max and I made together. And it's also one of the genres where women have more lines than men in the film. So I love horror. So you mentioned Suspiria, and we were actually lucky enough that we have Claudio Simonetti, who did the score for the original Suspiria.
Oh, wow.
Going to be scoring our film as well. So it's going to move over to Italy for Claudio to do his work very, very soon.
Well, that's exciting. Max, this is exciting. I'm looking forward to getting an invitation when you have a big screening, and we'll get you back on the show to talk about that and about your career at a future date.
I look forward to that.
Thank you very much.
Great. Thanks. See you guys.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
He was talking about a producer. He mentioned briefly what a producer does. And I know obviously you were a producer on that movie. So why don't you explain what the difference is between an executive producer, and a production manager?
Yeah. So an executive producer is typically someone who is financing the project or is able, because of the connections that they have, to package the project. So that might mean bringing on, a particular director or a set of actors that might make the project more attractive to financiers. And they stay involved, with the production from pre-production, production, and post. They make a lot of the big decisions, especially when it comes to money and where the money is going to be spent.
Right.
They may or may not be involved in the day-to-day business of the film. Whereas your producer is really the one that is involved in the day-to-day business of getting the film made. They work on screwing up the project.
I'm sorry. I thought you said, and then they work on screwing up the project.
Screwing up. No, we try
Crewing
not.
up.
Yes, you crew the project.
Screw it up.
So yeah, hiring your director and your production designer and all the way down the line,
Right.
your DP. And then the production manager is typically the boots on the ground person who is on set every day, managing the production from start to finish. They're taking the budget that was created either by the producer or the line producer and executing that budget, making sure that, they're putting out all of the fires as they come up on set and making sure that you're prepped for the next day and the next week and dealing with all of the challenges that may come with that, parking and logistics and catering and,
Management. Yeah.
all
Great.
the management.
Another thing that you did, and I want to talk about Occult Detective because that's your movie that you actually wrote. And I noticed in the resume it said that you're going to be the post-production supervisor. What does that job entail?
Yeah, we shot a little proof of concept short for the Cult Detective to give people the idea of, what the film is going to look and feel like. So I, produced that and then acted as post-production supervisor, which basically means you're ensuring that the project is completed. So you're creating that post-production schedule of, when are we moving from editing to sound to color. You're hiring the post-production team. You're making sure that you get all of the deliverables that you need in whatever format you need them in for however you're going to display the final product.
So tell me about Occult Detective. Where did that idea come from and how did you develop it?
It's a paranormal thriller. It's about a psychic detective who is
A woman?
a woman, yes. And she's on the hunt for a serial killer. Because she's psychic, she can communicate with the victims who have been murdered. And
cool.
in the course of her investigation, she actually ends up shooting a man and killing him. And this man she believes might be the serial killer. But what happens when you kill someone and you can see dead people? Right. So it's the story of, this woman who has, killed this man and now he's sort of haunting her in the afterlife and trying to exact his revenge on her psychically. So she's desperate to prove his guilt and rid herself of his, vengeful spirit.
What is the process? I know you said you've produced the proof of concept. What's the next step? Are you looking for financing at this point? And
yes. We're looking for financing, talking to investors. We're applying for grant money. Our goal is to go into production in the summer of 2025. And this is actually a story that is set in Florida, which is where my writing partner, who will also be directing it, he lives in Florida. So all of the filming will take place down there. So very busy.
Yes, yeah, that's crazy. And will you go down to produce it or will you be stuck here at VCU teaching?
I'm going to be producing that project and will also be script supervising on set.
So you're working at VCU, like you said, and you were down at Ringling before. What is it you like about teaching the new young filmmakers?
I think teaching young people filmmaking is really exciting because they have such interesting ideas on the world, on themselves, on their identity, on their culture. The older you get and, especially the more entrenched you get into filmmaking, you're thinking a lot about, gosh, what's going to sell and what does the audience really want? And
right.
Students don't have any of those constraints, they're just so self-expressive and they just want to make something because they're passionate about it and they think it's really cool and interesting. Just being around that energy and that youthful energy of, anything is possible. So it's great to just have that grounding to come back to when we're writing these stories and developing these films. It should be something that speaks to us and that we're passionate about and isn't necessarily with an eye on the commercial end of things,
Right. And I think I kind of know the answer to this question already, but I always like to ask, when you're not working on your own projects, what do you like to watch? What are you watching now?
Oh, yes. I mean, I'm a big horror thriller girl. Like I've said, I am currently watching Ripley on Netflix.
Okay.
Making my way through that. It's a remake of The Talented Mr. Ripley. They turned it into a series, though. I'm only a few episodes in.
Black and white. It's beautifully made. I thought it could have been an episode shorter and tighter, but it was beautifully made.
Yeah. I would love to go there. The vistas, the scenery, the land, it's beautiful. also watching The Bear, binging it as fast as possible. I think it's one of the best shows on TV right now.
I've gotten through the second episode of the new season, and it's like the same thing I've said about it from the beginning. I'm one of the few people who doesn't get it. It's just mad, angry, unhappy people yelling at each other the whole time.
Have you ever worked in a kitchen?
No, I haven't.
That's how it is. I waitressed a bit in college, and nothing on that scale of kind of the high end restaurant that they're trying to do on the show now, but that's how it is in the back there. And it's just this crazy world that, no one in the restaurant usually knows about. And I just love it. I don't know. Again, they've been able to capture that back of house energy so well. It's just so visceral. I love that. I love being able to feel it, come through the screen.
Good. Okay.
I have a daughter who's 7 and a son who's 10. So I don't get to the movie theater as much as I would like to, especially for horror movies. It's been a lot of Inside Out 2.
I was just going to say Inside Out 2. Yeah.
Yeah. And Super Mario Brothers lately. But yeah, definitely putting some time in my schedule this month. Because like I said, there's a lot of good horror coming out. I'm dying to see Longlegs and Maxine.
I'm going to see Maxine Wednesday night.
Nice.
We'll see. Well, this has been interesting. It's great to get a chance to meet you. I'd heard about you already and you have some amazing stuff on your resume. So thank you for doing this. And obviously, when we get closer to Saturnalia being ready to be shown, we'll get Max on the show and maybe we'll get you back on there too to talk about it.
Yeah, sounds great. I would love to.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Jerry. Have a great day.
Vivian Owen has been a screenwriter, script supervisor, and producer for several years and is currently working on 2 features, both thrillers.
Coming soon. In theaters.
Longlegs. Vivian will be excited because this highly hyped thriller opens this weekend. Nicolas Cage plays the titular character, who's also a serial killer, and an FBI agent uncovers a series of occult clues that she must solve to end his killing spree. Fly Me to the Moon. Scarlett Johansson plays a marketing manager who has to create a fake moon landing featuring astronaut Channing Tatum, from director Greg Berlanti. Robot Dreams. The animated adventures and misfortunes of Dog and Robot in New York City during the 80s. Touch. This import follows a man in search for his first love in Iceland and Japan 50 years ago. Dandelion follows a singer-songwriter in South Dakota where she meets a guitarist who walked away from his dream long ago, with original music from Bryson Aaron Dressner. He's best known as a member of The National. The Convert. A lay preacher, Guy Pearce, arrives at a British settlement in 1830s, caught in the middle of a bloody war between Maori tribes. June Zero, the 1961 trial of Adolf Eichmann's mass murder of the Jews in World War II, is the focal point of 3 stories: his Jewish Moroccan prison guard, an Israeli investigator for the prosecution, and a 13-year-old Holocaust survivor.
TV and streaming.
Descendants, The Rise of Red on Disney. Red, the daughter of the Queen of Hearts, and Chloe, the daughter of Cinderella, team up to save Auradon by traveling back in time. Sorry, Not Sorry on Video on Demand, an examination of comic Louis C.K. after his sexual harassment charges and his comeback. Mammals on AMC Plus and BBC America. Sir David Attenborough examines how mammals live in extreme environments. Hit Monkey on Hulu, about a wrong Japanese snow monkey who's mentored by an American assassin in the Tokyo underworld. Cobra Kai on Netflix. This series based on The Karate Kid enters its final season. Those About to Die on Peacock, a series about Rome in the days when gladiators and other bloody sports were popular. Find Me Falling on Netflix. Harry Connick Jr. stars as a rock star who retreats to a Mediterranean island. Divorce in the Black on Prime, the latest drama from Tyler Perry. The Serpent Queen on Starz. Samantha Morton returns as Catherine de' Medici in Season 2. Exploding Kittens on Netflix. This animated weirdness has God and Satan's spawn on Earth as talking cats. Next week, Deb Freeman will be here to talk about her new VPM series focused on famed black chef Edna Lewis. This is Jerry Williams. Thanks for listening.
For more Sister, including literally thousands of reviews,
Visit tvjerry.com.